And welcome back everyone to the chess game series of Paul Morphy. Paul Morphy is playing against Daniel Harrwitz, and this is round 4, the fourth official game between these two players. In the series of matches, Harrwitz is defeating Paul Morphy with 1 extra points. Harrwitz is defeating Paul Morphy with 2, and Morphy is 1 point. But after the second game, Paul Morphy made a promise, and Morphy said Harrwitz is not going to win one more game. He is not going to win another game. That was the promise of Paul Morphy, and Paul Morphy is determined to defeat his opponent. The player who is going to be victorious in the series of matches is going to prove that he is the king in Europe before Anderson. So Harrwitz was the second best player in Europe, recognized in the chess world. So if Paul Morphy defeats Harrwitz, automatically Paul Morphy is going to be the challenger of the World Chess Championship title, and he is going to get the chance to play with Anderson. So this is the fourth game between Harrwitz and Morphy, and this game was played on September 10 in 1858 in Paris. So this time Paul Morphy has the white pieces, and Paul Morphy starts the game with playing e4, e5 by Harrwitz, knight to f3, d6, Philidor's defense, d4, e takes on d4, queen takes on d4, the exchange variation of the Philidor's defense, knight to c6, bishop to b5, pinning the knight, unpinning and attacking the queen, bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, bishop to g5, f6, bishop to h4, knight to h6, knight to c3, queen to d7, and Paul Morphy castled. Bishop to e7 by Harrwitz, rook from a to d1, and also Daniel Harrwitz castled. Queen to c4 by Paul Morphy, rook to f7, blocking the check. Knight to d4, knight to g4, kicking the knight to somewhere else and attacking the queen, queen to e2, g5, bishop to g3, rook to g7, lining the rook with the king, and hoping for some attacking opportunities in the future after opening the file. Paul Morphy played knight to f5, attacking the rook, easily defending, f4, g takes on f4, rook takes on f4, king to h8, maybe hoping to double the rooks. Paul Morphy played rook to h4. Also Paul Morphy is lining the rook with the king, bishop to f8. Paul Morphy captures the knight, bishop takes on e5, f takes on e5, rook to f1, queen to e6, knight to b5, queen to g8, rook to f2, adding more protection, on g2, a6, attacking the knight. Paul Morphy captures on c7, attacking the rook, rook to c8, knight to d5, bishop takes knight, e takes on d5, rook to c7. Paul Morphy played c4, bishop to e7, rook to h5, queen to e8, c5 by Paul Morphy, sacrificing the pawn, and Harrwitz captures with the rook, rook takes on c5. If d takes on c5, well, that's a blunder. Queen takes on e5, and if blocking with the bishop, then losing the queen. And if king to g8, then queen takes on c7, and black needs to resign. It's over for black. So that's why Paul Morphy played c5, but then rook takes on c5. What now? Paul Morphy made his calculations, and he played a killer move, a crushing move. Paul Morphy played a bone-crushing move. Can you guess the next move of Paul Morphy? What would you do in this position if you had the white pieces? Well, Paul Morphy played rook takes on h7, sacrificing the rook by Paul Morphy, an epic move. by Morphy. Harrwitz captures the rook. King takes on h7, but then queen to h5 by Paul Morphy. King to g8. And what now? Paul Morphy captures the bishop with the knight. That's check. King to g7. If queen takes on e7, then queen takes rook. And black is losing. Queen to e6. If king to h7, then rook to f7, winning the queen. If king to h8, then rook to f5, and threatening to play rook to h5, and there is no sensible defense for black. So after king to g8, Paul Morphy captures the bishop, knight takes on e7, that's check. Black can't captures back, so king to g7. And Paul Morphy didn't capture the rook. He played a better move. Paul Morphy played knight to f5, that's check. Daniel Harrwitz was in shock. He played king to g8. Paul Morphy played a move, and Harrwitz resigned. Morphy played knight takes on d6. It's all over for black. Another bone-crushing move by Paul Morphy. Harrwitz got crushed very badly. And let me show you the possible continuation. Well, in this position, knight is attacking the queen, and there is no sensible defense for black. Harrwitz can't defend the queen and the rook at the same time. So if rook takes knight, queen takes queen, it's over. And how to defend the queen? Well, there is no reasonable defense for the queen. So if queen to e7, then queen takes rook. You can't defend the queen without losing the rook. So queen to g7. What now? Rook to f8 is the killer move. King takes on f8, queen to e8, checkmate. And in this position, it may look like after rook takes on g2, the queen is attacking the queen. No. Rook takes on g2. That's check. And black is getting checkmated. It's not so easy to play against Paul Morphy. Paul Morphy was a very complicated player. So after knight takes on d6, there is no defense for Harrwitz, and that's why, after this move, Daniel Harrwitz resigned. Another fantastic chess game by Paul Morphy, one of the most famous chess games of Paul Morphy ever. And it's not hard to guess. What a beautiful chess game by Paul Morphy. Simply brilliant. So the score is equal right now. Harrwitz is 2 points and also Paul Morphy is 2 points. Both players tie with 2 points. So Paul Morphy is slowly making a very dramatic and the epic comeback against Harrwitz. So I see you guys next time in Game 5 in the series of matches against Morphy and Harrwitz in Paris 1858. So take care and bye bye for now.